So you've never left Firetown?
Sorry, buddy. Elements don't mix.
Hey!
Plus, my dad would boil you alive.
Why does anyone get to tell you what you can do in your life?
Wait! Before we get started on this film that's in theaters right now, please do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button right at the bottom. Pixar's Elemental is out right now. This is directed by Peter Sohn. He is the director of The Good Dinosaur, but he's also the voice of that little cat that was in Lightyear.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't know that.
Hello, Buzz. I am Socks, your personal companion robot.
My what?
They brought some different writers into this, and some of the writers in this are people who wrote TV shows. And this is like the first crack at writing a Pixar film. This movie revolves around elements, and these elements live in a city called Element City. Just like the elements of Avatar, baby. Okay, earth, fire, and of course, earth, wind, and fire. You know,
In his heart, there's a space, and the world can't erase its fantasy.
earth, wind, fire, and water. Okay, this story is a immigrant story. Right. Of a family of fire comes to Elemental City to start a new life. It's also about racial stuff that's in this, about how elements cannot mix. And I knew that was gonna be in here.
When you saw the trailer for this, you had the knives out. You were ready to kill this film before you saw it. And I was really confused by that. I was like, why? It's freaking Pixar. Like, they don't make bad movies, like, ever. Even like their flops are still pretty freaking good. So I'm like, what's up with the hostility? And I saw that there was, that you weren't alone. A lot of people just were upset at the concept of this film. And I didn't understand it. And after watching the film, I am more confused than ever. I'll be honest with you, I love this movie. I thought it was freaking fantastic. I thought this was probably one of my favorite movies of the year, much to a surprise to me. Because like you said earlier, this is not a movie about race and all the bullshit that you see on TikTok and on the internet saying this is a movie about race or whatever. It's not. It's a movie about an immigrant and a second generation immigrant trying to find her way in the land that she grew up in. And she's trying to merge her traditional fire parents with the more modern Element City. And it's important to note in Element City that while there are all these different elements like fire and wind and water, the fire people are like a minority. There's not that many fire people. And the other elements, they don't seem to have a lot of experience living next to fire people. And so there's a lot of trepidation and confusion about fire's role in Element City. And there's a lot of fear of the fire people. So the fire people have set up their own little area in Element City. It's kind of like a little immigrant area. And they are thriving. They're doing so great. But they are mostly segregated from the rest of the city. Through a series of unfortunate events, Ember's parents' restaurant is about to get shut down by an inspector, and Ember has to try and prevent her parents' restaurant from getting shut down. And so she's got to team up with this water guy named Wade, and she has all this internalized, like, I guess, bigotry towards water people because her parents are very distrustful of water people. And so she's got to learn how to put that aside and work with this water guy so she can keep her family's business intact. Through all this, we learn there's like a bigger conspiracy, that there's a leak in Element City and there's a big wave about to rush right to the fire community. But at the core, as the movie goes on, it becomes very obvious, even from the trailers, the movie's actually not about any of that shit, right? It's actually about a love story between Ember, the fire girl, and Wade, the water guy.
That's all the stuff that I like. I love all of that stuff to the fullest. Okay, that is the stuff that I told Devin before we started that made me cry. Okay, but the thing that kind of rubbed me in a different direction is that when I looked at this for the first time, the trailer to this first time, which I was like, oh God, this looks like Zootopia, just for elements. That's what I was saying.
All right.
But I was pleasantly surprised that they took it to a direction of the immigrants and showing how they live.
I would say for anyone that's trying to compare this to Zootopia, watch Zootopia again. Zootopia is much more explicitly about race, and
Oh yes,
they
for sure.
fumble and fall over themselves so much in that movie talking about race to the point that I think it's disgusting.
I gotta tell you, you are even cuter than I thought you'd be.
You probably didn't know, but a bunny can call another bunny cute, but when other animals do it, it's a little...
I am so sorry.
I'm like, oh, what the fuck is that? It's gross. First of all, in Zootopia, I know they're saying the Zootopia review, but first of all, the Zootopia, our main character's a freaking cop. Like, okay, and then, and then
Ready to make the world a better place?
beyond that, right? They say, oh, the predators and the prey, they can't get together. They can't work together because the predators are just naturally violent. What the are they trying to say that like some minorities just cannot control themselves? Like, no. What makes racism so pervasive is that it's all bull. It's all BS. It's not true. And so Zootopia leaned into all these gross stereotypes I did not like.
No, Nick, don't do this. Fight it.
Oh, but he can't help it, can he? Since Preds are just biologically predisposed to be savages.
Zootopia has not aged well, and anyone with even a passing knowledge of race relations, I think would be disgusted by Zootopia. But this film, I think, treats it better because Ember and Ember's parents, they're like, elements, they don't mix. Don't do it. They don't mix. You fire people stay over here, water people over there, you know, wind people over there, XYZ, right? No, they doesn't mix. But we learn very clearly that very early on that this is bull, right? The elements are living together in harmony quite regularly, right? It seemed like the movie was trying to say that if you actually like open your eyes and look, that a lot of your biases towards other elements are rooted in a lie. And I liked that a lot because there's a lot of fear between Ember and Wade as to whether or not they could touch, right? There's a lot of fear. Wade is like, oh, he might boil me away. And Ember's like, he might put out my flame. You know, what'll happen if we touch, you know? And of course, spoilers here, they do touch. And guess what happens? Nothing, right? It's fine. The little steam comes out.
Just a little steam comes out.
Yeah, a little steam. That's it. So all this stuff was bull, right? It wasn't actually real. They had to get over this bigotry that was in their minds that they had to. And so I feel like that was a lot more realistic than the garbage in Zootopia, where like a lion is actually a predator, and a lion or a fox will actually eat a bunny rabbit, like that.
Yeah. And I watched it. I'm like, this is a little more in depth than what I thought. Okay. But overall, I'm gonna say that I did enjoy this film. You know, the things that I loved about this film, it's beautiful.
Oh yeah, my God. If Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse didn't come out this year, this would be an easy shoe-in for an animation Oscar. This year, though, I don't know. Spider-Man's probably got it. I don't know. But
hey,
this one is beautiful.
We still got Ninja Turtles coming up. So
it's true. It's a tough year for animation.
Ooh, boy, it's gonna be crazy at the Oscars for that. But and the voice work was done very well. Leah Lewis, she played Ember, and I hope I'm gonna mess up your name, sir. Mayamudu Athi, he played Wade. Wade is a sensitive guy,
right? And
I had someone that's close to me. They were like, "Wade is you."
That's cool.
You're Wade. You're sensitive. I'm like, I know I'm a Cancer, so what?
That's funny.
And when Wade was crying about certain things and how he was expressing his feelings, trying to push her to her goal because her passion is making glass, and then she has this opportunity to go to another city to form glass and stuff like that. But her father wants her to take over the shop and also learn to control her rage. And that's what he kept saying throughout the years of her growing up: control your rage. But Wade is like, you have a proven talent here, okay? And you can do it. And when he was saying that stuff and the music was going, but I was like, hey, every time I come in this theater, man, I'm telling you, something coming down from the vents, landing in my eyeballs.
That's funny.
That's funny. You know what I'm saying?
And I think that's the reason why I liked this movie so much. I felt something. I felt a thing. When we watched Transformers, I felt nothing at all. I didn't dislike the movie. I thought it was fine. Like I said in our review, it was fine, but I didn't feel anything. This one, I could like feel myself getting frustrated at characters. I could feel myself getting sad and getting disappointed, being shocked when Wade told Ember that he loved her, and Ember said, "I don't love you back," and I was like, "Holy shit!" like emotional damage. Like whoa, like
emotional damage.
That's right. I was like feeling things. I was in the theater, thoroughly enjoying myself. I think that's probably my most favorite part about the film. Is that yes, it's an immigrant story, and yes, there are some shades of race, I suppose. But another part about the film that I thought was equally as important, if not more important, the movie's also about emotional intelligence, right? When we meet Ember, she always has her mind made up. She's got a big personality, and she can very easily lose her temper, right? And then when we meet Wade, he appears to be crying uncontrollably. You're like, what the heck's going on? But as the movie,
he's so emotional,
right?
He's so emotional.
But as the movie goes on, we learn they're both very emotional, right?
Yes.
But Wade understands his emotions and he expresses them freely. He understands. He understands what they're trying to tell him. He understands what they mean, and he's not trying to suppress that. He's not trying to like pretend like he's the hard man or whatever. No, he is a very emotional person, and he expresses that freely and openly because he knows the importance of that. Ember doesn't have that kind of emotional intelligence. She thinks expressing softness or crying is a weakness, and she doesn't understand why she explodes randomly at customers. And through dealing with Wade, not only does she learn how to control her emotions, but she learns like what they mean, what her emotions are trying to tell her. And they're trying to tell her that even though her family wants her to take over the family business, that's just not where her passions lie. Her passions lie with making glass. And if she'd just listened to herself, she could have come to this conclusion on her own, but only through someone who genuinely makes her a better person did she come to that conclusion. So I thought that was just really great. And I thought it was a very mature theme. So let's talk about the thing everybody wants to talk about, the thing that I care about the least, is the box office. So this movie didn't do well at all. As a matter of fact, I think it did worse than Pixar's previous bad film, The Good Dinosaur. So this is one of Pixar's lowest performing films, which is strange because I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I saw these articles about the people who made the film being confused by the audience reaction. And after seeing the film, I can't lie, I'm a little confused too. And I think a lot of people felt like you did. I think people looked at the movie, the trailer of the movie before it came out, and they decided that they just weren't going to show up. And that's exactly what happened. But I think for the people who actually saw the film, the reviews aren't bad. But people just didn't want to come out and see this one.
I think they would rather see a lot of these animations on Disney Plus. It just goes over better for them. Am I going to spend $75 to get my kids
Probably
friends
right.
up in there to go there when I can just do the turning red thing and have them at my house for free?
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
Even though Encanto released in 2021 in theater, it did not see a lot of revenue and box office hit in the theater, but as soon as it hit on Disney Plus, it became a phenomenon.
Yeah. I think you'll be right. Maybe stuff like this is better on streaming. Like, I think we've talked about this before. One by one, genre by genre, certain genres just don't work in theaters anymore. First it was comedy, and then it's romance, and I think now suddenly, shockingly, family films just don't work in the theater anymore. So I think you're probably onto something. I think action films, really extremely big budget action films, seem to do fine in the theater. Not always, but they seem to have a chance.
Because to your point about the action films, we saw Sisu this year, and the budget for that was $6 million. And of course, it made more than what his budget was, but it's not, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse or type of action film budget. So
right, Cease was only successful because it cost $6 million.
Yes.
Into the Spider-Verse costs over $200 million. Same with The Flash. Same with Elemental. So yeah, they got a long way to go, and it doesn't seem like Disney will make money off this film, which is a shame because I think they're gonna learn all the wrong lessons.
When I saw the trailer of this film, as Devin said earlier, that I was coming down on this film because I was like, this is like Zootopia, and then my major point of my reaction when I did that video was that it's not going to be successful because of people not going to go to the theater to see this because they've been watching stuff on streaming. But it's not easy doing what they did. No. Okay. All right. It takes a lot of time to do this animation, and they did it beautifully.
And they're so creative with how the elements mix and how each element shows off like what makes them special. Like Ember dancing on the crystals, and she changed colors because of the chemical reaction, and Wade making a big rainbow by throwing the water in the air. Like I thought the stuff is so clever. Really cool stuff.
And what took this film over for me was Wade's a relationship with Ember. That relationship right there got me into Emotionalville. Okay, and that is the major thing for me in this film, with the immigrant stuff too. So I'm gonna give this film a minus.
Yep, I'm giving this one an A. I thoroughly enjoyed myself with this film. I will watch 100 Elementals before I watch another Transformer. I will watch 1,000 Elementals before I watch another Marvel film. To me, this movie was creative. It was beautiful. It had a great story. It had a great message. I think it was really, really good. Did they execute everything about the immigrant story perfectly? No. Is an immigrant story even particularly unique? No. But it doesn't matter. When you're in the film, I felt like I didn't care. I was thoroughly invested in our characters, and they felt real. There's a point in the film where I'm watching a water guy and a fire girl, and I'm like, okay, cool. But then after that, I'm no longer watching a water guy and a fire girl. I'm watching Wade and Ember. You know what I mean? I'm watching two characters. And I feel like that is a special thing that I felt during that film. And and I wish more people could feel that about the film, I wish more people gave it a chance because I think this is a really, really good film.
So you do recommend people seeing this?
Yeah, I think it's great. I recommend you give it a chance at least. If you give it a chance and you still hate the film, fine. Fine. Good enough. Fair enough. I'm okay with a disagreeing of my opinion. But to not even try, I think that's a shame because I think most people will enjoy this film. I think most people will like this film. I think most people could relate to either Wade's plight or Ember's plight.
I do recommend this film also, and I recommend you going to the theater and seeing this film. Don't worry about what you see with the numbers in the box office and like that. Those people, they just want to wait until, with their kids.
Right, wait till streaming.
Wait till streaming. But if you want to get the full effect, see it on the big screen. It's a good lesson about love, a good lesson about communication. It's a good lesson about teamwork, and teamwork from people that may not look like you, but can do extraordinary things to help you reach your goal.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but more importantly, do you recommend this film? Have you seen Elemental? Please let us know how you felt about it in the comments down below, all right? Once again, thank you so much for clicking on this video. We really do appreciate you. Our subscriber count, we like doing some seesaw stuff right now. So, be the fat kid and launch us up in the air and get some more subscribers down there for us, okay? Get us up now. And if you did like this rating and review, please hit that thumbs up. Or you can hit that thumbs down, whichever you choose. It is your opinion. Just remember one thing, it is mostly wrong. See you guys in another awesome video. Peace.
Yeah, what the fuck are you talking about, Tyron?
Just anybody, man. You know, the fat kid to get on the seesaw, launch your ass up.